The incredibly precarious position of Marine Le Pen in French politics today. I began the day by talking about Marine Le Pen, and I think I'm going to end the day in the same way. This is a woman whose political future now hangs by the thread of a constitutional query and the goodwill of a younger successor who may have already begun writing her political obituary. This is not just a story of a far right politician facing the courts, it's a broader question about judicial overreach in France, in Europe, in Britain, or indeed about the interference between the judicial process and the political process, and this selective enforcement, what happens when democracy is reshaped not in the ballot box but in the courtroom. And what if the politicians are ultimately responsible for that process, as indeed in France it appears to be the case? I think this is it calls out for serious examination. It seems to scream of wrongdoing and hypocrisy. Yesterday, Marine Le Pen received a thunderous sentence: 4 years in prison, 2 suspended, an €85,000 fine, and more explosively, a 5-year ban on holding elected office. She's appealing, but the ban, astonishingly, is immediate and not subject to suspension, unlike the appeal process. Her lawyer admits there's no way to get it lifted in the meantime. So I don't know, does that mean that she's not active in politics at this moment, from this moment on? The offence: misappropriating EU parliamentary funds by employing party aides as if they were Brussels-based assistants. These aides never set foot in Strasbourg, and the emails, including one from Le Pen's own sister, asking to finally visit Brussels months into the job, sealed the prosecution's case. But what has scandaled many isn't the charge, it's the selective enforcement. As one EU aide remarked, every single political group, every single national delegation has violated the same rule. And this isn't a corruption scandal in the classic sense. No yachts, no villas, no brown envelopes. The money, nearly €500,000, was not embezzled for personal gain, but channeled into party infrastructure. And that doesn't make it legal, but it does make the ruling political. And this is what we might call lawfare, the use of legal instruments to achieve political goals. And the rule book was dusted off and applied with full force, but only to one individual, the front runner to the 2027 French presidential election. If this precedent were applied across the European Parliament, one imagines half the chamber would be under investigation. The rule barring assistants from working on domestic politics is widely flouted. The difference: Le Pen had the misfortune to be both successful and ideologically inconvenient. Compare this to the Anglo-American model in Westminster or Washington. Employing aides for political communications is not only legal, it's routine. As long as public funds aren't misused or for personal indulgence, there's little appetite for criminalising political operations. France, by contrast, has just disqualified a woman backed by a third of the electorate. Not by vote, but by verdict. And one must ask, if the people cannot choose a popular candidate because of a retroactive bureaucratic offence, where does legitimacy lie? And so what can Marine Le Pen do now? First, the legal route. Her only hope lies in the QPC, a question prioritaire de constitutionnalité, already lodged with the Constitutional Council. It argues that the immediate political ban violates the constitutional guarantee of voters' freedom to choose their representatives. And the council is expected to rule by the 3rd of April. However, that body is chaired by Ricard Ferrand, a Macron loyalist, and no one is expecting a judicial miracle. Even if the court sided with her, the damage politically and psychologically may already be done. Second, she could back Jordan Bardella, her 29-year-old protégé and current RN president. And Bardella is smooth, photogenic, and trending well on social media, but beneath the TikToks and the TV clips lies a certain shallowness. He has stumbled under scrutiny, especially when asked about economic or international affairs. Yet Bardella is now not merely the plan B, he may become the unavoidable plan A. And ironically, the sentence may help him. As a former RN candidate quipped, she becomes a casualty of a political fix and he becomes her avenger. But 2 years is a long time in politics, and there's no guarantee Bardet will remain loyal. A recent cartoon in Charlie Hebdo depicted him pushing Le Pen in a wheelchair into a care home. Satirical, yes, but not wholly absurd. Third, Le Pen could attempt a Putin-Medvedev manoeuvre, Bardet as president, Le Pen as prime minister. But even she dismissed this, saying she is not in that frame of mind. Translation: pride, principle, or perhaps a quiet recognition that she is now more of a liability than a leader. The court has done what Emmanuel Macron and the political centre could not. It has detonated a grenade under the far-right's seemingly unstoppable march to the Élysée Palace. But it may also reshape French democracy in the process. Inside the RN there is disarray. The party has been hit with a €2 million fine, its war chest slashed. Its top-down structure, with Le Pen as its strategic brain, may now collapse with infighting. Outside the RN, political manoeuvring is already underway. Edouard Philippe, the softly spoken former Prime Minister, is sharpening his knives for a centre-right comeback. Leftist candidates spy an opportunity to reclaim voters lost to Le Pen. And figures like Laurent Wauquiez are already warning that the court's ruling is unhealthy for democracy. This isn't idle rhetoric. When the courts, not the people, determine candidacy, democracy acquires a dangerously technocratic edge. The judiciary may feel virtuous, but voters may feel disenfranchised. So where does this leave Marine Le Pen? Stripped of candidacy, wounded but not defeated, her final act may be less about victory than martyrdom. She may yet shape 2027, not as a candidate, but as a symbol of institutional betrayal, passed over in favour of a younger man, now forced to answer the question, can the far right win without her? And if it can, will it still be her movement, or will it be Bardet's? Unburdened by legacy, but also stripped of conviction. For now, Le Pen waits. But her options, once myriad, now flicker dimly, reduced to a court case, a successor's loyalty, and the cold comfort of victimhood.